Welcome back. After the tough winter we've all endured, it looks like we might finally actually have a spring around here. So that means it's time to take the games outside. MC competes in NJCAA baseball, softball, and track and field in the spring. And with their seasons just getting underway, let's take a look at what's ahead for each team. MC Baseball is one of the most successful athletic programs in the history of Montgomery College. But this year's edition has a tough act to follow. Last year's team set a school record for most wins in a season, 40, won their 7th Region 20 title in the last 8 years, and returned to the NJCAA World Series in Texas. They placed 2 players on the NJCAA All-American team, Jake Taylor and Greg Turlick, and Taylor also won a Rawlings Gold Glove Award. In addition, they had 4 players named to the All-Region 20 team. And to add to the difficulty, the team returns just 6 players from last year's squad. But they were also ranked number 8 nationally in the NJCAA preseason poll. I talked with head coach Raptor about this year's team.
We're very young, but there's a lot of talent. We're not going to hit the ball out of the park as much. When you lose Travis Smith and Taylor and Turlick, that's a big loss in run production. But these guys can hit and they can field. They're excellent on defense, and I'm looking forward to it. I think these guys are going to start their own path and be a pretty good team.
Coach Raptor has always believed that pitching and defense are the keys to winning. Sounds like the defense will be fine, but what about the arms?
We're going to be young, but we've got a number of very capable pitchers that are going to have to grow up on the mound. They're going to have to get out and do it and learn, and that's why we play 50 games. So hopefully a couple guys step to the front and turn into some pretty good pitchers by the end of the year.
And despite the team's incredible run of success, Raptor is well aware that the competition is nipping at their heels.
You saw it last year. We need to focus. We need to get better as a team. I think that PG Community College is going to give us everything we want this year. In Westmoreland, we always play good games with them. So, we just got to keep improving as a team. And then when we get to May 10th, things will take care of themselves.
That May 10th date Coach Raptor is referring to is when the Region 20 tournament begins, and the winner heads back to the NJCAA World Series in Texas. Turning to softball, last season, new head coach Mike Smigocki completely revitalized the program. The year before he took over, the record was 4-23. Last year, his first, they were 18-14 and came within 1 run of advancing to the NJCAA Softball Nationals. Star pitcher Julie Hance was named an All-American. 3 players made the All-Region 21st team and 2 made All-Maryland JUCO. So quite a turnaround, but as we know, it's tough at the 2-year college level. 1 year can be totally different from the next. And actually, as I found out when I talked to Coach Smigocki the other day, your team can actually change from fall to spring semester. Now, his team began workouts in the fall, and he felt very good about where they stood when they took a break for final exams.
I was probably the most excited I've ever been, and if you remember from last year how excited I was, we had a team that really could compete at a national level here. We had top-notch pitching. We had some very, very strong players coming in, a number of them All-Gazette players from last year.
But as I said, things can change quickly. When the spring semester began, Smigocki learned that 2 of his top recruits were leaving the team and MC when they received scholarship offers to play at 4-year schools. And then 4 more decided not to play so they could concentrate on academics. So all of a sudden, a team that looked like a possible national contender had some serious holes to fill. but the always upbeat Smigaki remains optimistic.
I think they're gonna compete very hard. We're short pitching this year, and softball pitching is your number one factor. Hitting wise, I'll put the girls hitting up against anybody out there. Fielding will be fairly strong, not as strong as we would have been if we had all the players, but the girls we have out there are going to give their all, and so I think we'll compete. It'll come down to the pitching and how much pitching depth we're able to develop.
So we'll see how things develop for this team. It's been a rough beginning to the season so far, to be sure, with the loss of key players and the bad weather causing several game cancellations. But if anybody can produce a positive season for MC softball, it's Mike Smigaki. He has over 20 years of experience coaching in Montgomery County. And next Raptor Report will bring you up to date on how things are going on the softball diamond. And now let's turn to track and field, another completely revitalized MC program. Head coach Jamal Schools and his assistant Tom Payne have completely redrawn the track landscape here, as they've turned this program into a D3 powerhouse. Last season, MC athletes qualified for over 22 events at the National Championship meet, resulting in 13 top 10 national finishes overall and 4 in the top 5. But it's a new year and a new season, which has unfortunately gotten off to a slow start thanks to Old Man Winter. 3 meets on their schedule were canceled because of snow and cold, and the weather has affected their ability to practice full out as well. This time last season, they'd already competed in several meets, and I talked with Raptors head coach Jamal Schools about the effect the slow start has had on the team.
We haven't really had tested yet with the long days of track meets and, being able to fulfill the test of, consistent training and consistent pounding with different events throughout the whole day, being able to run one event and, an hour later run another event, being able to recover properly, hydrate your system and that type of thing.
Once they get going, Coach Schools and his assistant Tom Payne expect the team to be well represented at nationals.
We have a good sophomore core that has returned from either last year's team or has redshirted last year from the prior year before that, which combines for our 4x4 relay team, which should compete for nationals this year. Last year they did pretty good, and we medaled last year. I think it was top 8, so they should compete. Hopefully top 3 this year. Individually, we have not to mention too many individuals, but 400 hurdles, 800-meter dash, 400-meter dash, and possibly a 15-meter run as well. For the women's side, nationally ranked, we have a few women as well, a few sprinters, primarily the 100 and 200-meter sprints. We actually have a high jumper that should be trying to compete this year.
And the Raptors finally got to compete in their first meet at Goucher, and despite the constant wind and rain, they came in a strong second in a 10-school field that included several 4-year schools. The team MVP for the meet was Thomas McIntyre, who won the 1500, the 800, and was on the winning 4x400 relay team. And 10 MC athletes posted results that qualify them for the national championships in May. So once they finally got a chance to compete, this team showed it has a ton of promise. Up next, Montgomery College has lost an athletics giant. We'll be right back with a tribute to one of the all-time great MC sports figures.